Hello everyone. Every day starts with a new beginning and every beginning starts with a new learning. In my begone days, we studied about poetry. But today, we are here with quintessential prose. And that's what we term as everything I need to know I learned in the forest. When I talk about forest, it just recurs me back to my school days when I studied a prose, Girl Against the Jungle, wherein you can see just before or in the eve of Christmas, a girl had to face all the consequences of air turbulence. The air gets crashed amidst of the forest. She loses every of the co-passengers only alive there. She solely travels the overall forest, experiences her life. Tragic of course, catastrophic of course, but she was against the jungle, learning day by day the hardship of life. Our ancestors, if I have to talk about the primitive age, they dwelled in the forest. But today, because of this concrete world, we dwell in the concrete way of the world wherein we tend to go to the forest only as a form of adventure. And that's where the simplicity lies. That's where a change also lies. Every year, every time there is a transition in the way the nature concepts. And today you will study about an author who went against all the odds, learned from the very scratch, took away the roots towards the nature. She wanted to preserve and conserve the nature what she learned from her roots. Here introducing to you a very beautiful author in herself, Vandana Shiva, wherein I term her personally as the daughter of nature. She is no less nurturing the nature in the way it has to be. She went against all the odds because that was her first education. She believed what we sow, so we reap. If we conserve the forest, that's where we are conserved. Man and nature are the two faces of the same coin. But when I toss, what comes to my hand is the first standard of nature. Nature can survive without human beings, but human beings cannot survive without nature. You all can see the biodiversity. An ecological system is balanced equally with that of human beings and other animals. Of course, human beings can dwell outside the forest also, but don't you think that we are vandalizing the property that belongs to animals equally? Where are we justifying our living? That's what it is taught, that she stands very aloof from those of the characters. Every child's first education starts at home. Vandana Shiva was no more different from this category. Her father was a forest conservator and she's been growing, seeing the peasants working in the foothills of Himalayas. She's been growing all together, connected with that of the nature. According to Vandana Shiva, nature is our first mother. Nature is our womb as well. So getting nurtured under the heavenly hands of nature is no less than any bliss. She learned amidst of the nature, the ecological balance, the ecological system, the lushy green woods and everything that connects her with that of the development of nature as well, and also preserving one for the future generation. Going forward, what is that we find is the Chipko movement. Mind you, prose has a different series of studies. Prose is nothing but we read, we assert from the text. I will give you the quintessential points that will help you in terms of examination. Reading through lines, you can do it through your texts as well. But what the points I quintessentially mention is much needed for understanding of the prose. Understanding the prose is equally important the way you understand poetry and music. So going forward, here it's a Chipko movement. So what is the meaning of Chipko? Chipko is nothing but the hug. It's a non-violent movement which undertook a political controversy and also the victory it all did. You can see the women hugging the tree from the by hit of loggers. There are assassins wherein they come and cut the tree. This was the first movement wherein Vandana Shiva voluntarily represented herself. She was a volunteer in this movement of Chipko that took place in the year 1970. They had to protect the forest. They were reluctant to let go the forest just like that. Only because they stood against the loggers. They had to face all the humiliations and embarrassment too. But women are women. If the ego comes to their stake, they can never compromise with that. Your questions might be, ma'am, why is that only women? Why not men? We don't see any men, of course. Of course, a young lad standing here, where are other men? It affected moreover on a woman. They would find it really very difficult amidst the nature, having no nature at all. Amidst the woods wherein they have their survival. Amidst the forest wherein they can see their life growing and nurturing. That's where they happen to be, that's where they will dwell, that's where they will see their future. And Chipko movement took place in the year 1970, giving you an elaborative idea. Chipko movement is nothing but a non-violent movement wherein the women, the vicinity people were reluctant to cut down the trees. They hugged the trees and they had to assert, before you cut the trees, you will have to cut us down. And this was nothing but a non-violent movement. That did not stop here at all. You had monoculture Navadanya farm, which was established in the year 1994. Out of all of the globe, out of all the blues, what emerged in her mind is a new way of cropping, a new way of cultivation, and that's known as monoculture. We term it as Navadanya farm. The monoculture, mono means one. What was the sequel of that? Witnessing a boon of conserving and growing what varieties? 630 varieties of rice. 630 varieties of rice, 150 varieties of wheat and 100 of other spices. 630. I would only know basmati rice, I would only know BT rice and something of the bullet rice. And what is this 150 varieties of wheat? Out of all the blue, she emerges with that kind of idea so that she can preserve nature, and also not only nature, it's also a full stop to the crisis of nutrition. A nutritious, healthy food which can keep you capable enough with all the strength. That's what made it to grow 630 varieties of rice, 150 varieties of wheat. I would only know one sort of wheat, and it should be the same with you as well, and 100 of other spices. Underlining this, make point of this as well. 630 varieties of rice, 150 varieties of wheat and 100 of other spices, wherein monoculture took place, and it was a revolution in the way of cropping. In this generation, or if I have to talk about the modern era or the present time, we all lack this kind of nutritious food only because we are away from the woods and the forests. It doesn't mean that we have to dwell in the forest. It means that wherever we are, let's conserve our vicinity. Let's not cut down our trees. And not going further, United Nations General Assembly. So what is this? This has been a part wherein this was arranged in the terms of Earth Day celebration, wherein the speaker spoke about the diversity. They said that human beings and nature are interconnected. When I talk about human beings, let me correct myself, it's not only human beings, it's also the animals who are equally responsible for the development of nature. They spoke about, in the conference of course, they spoke about the biodiversity, bio and diversity, wherein man and nature are interdependent on each other. I'll put each other in the bracket. They are interdependent. The way nature wants man, it's the same way man wants nature. Let's not get into wrong prejudice that nature cannot exist without man. True, it cannot exist at all. But how far are we in right way stating that man can live without nature? Can a fetus grow outside a mother's womb? A question mark. There's no question mark at all. It's all an exclamation to say that it's foolish to think about it. And here the Assembly, United Nations General Assembly, spoke about the interdisciplinary way of a man and nature, that both are interdependent. We both, that is the man and the nature, are the two faces of the same coin, and we have to preserve the nature. A nature can be only preserved when man turns it out to be. And mind you, they might ask you about this. What is the main intention? What was their intention? Was to showcase the importance of nature, to showcase to the world and its people that nature is equally essential for our livelihood. And also it goes without saying. And next, here you have Rabindranath Tagore's Tapovan. Rabindranath Tagore, one of the eminent personality, of course known to all for his national anthem Jana Gana Mana, saluting to all his achievements. This stands aloof of all. Unlike of those also wherein this is a very different genre, this is a very different field to the eminent author and the poet. Here Rabindranath Tagore writes a book, Tapovan. Tapovan is nothing but the nature, that something connected to greens is known as Tapovan. And here Rabindranath Tagore states forest of purity. You will have to remember this, forest of purity. Purity occurs only because of the forest, and forest occurs only because of the purity. Only when we dwell in a place wherein we are safe and sound, our livelihood starts. In his book Tapovan, Rabindranath Tagore gives a description of mankind and with that of the nature. He states that nature is a second womb. True, I have been repeatedly telling you this, that nature is a womb. But he concludes that that's where we are born, that's where we end our life. So before it is too late, why can't we conserve? Why can't we preserve our forest in the way it has to be? And which takes me to the expected questions in your examination. There is nothing much that I need to explain you about this. One thing you have to understand about the Chipko movement. What is the Chipko movement? It's where every of the women, children and men hug the trees so that they can save the trees from the loggers or the assassins. When I term assassin, assassins aren't the only one who kills men, who assassinates men. No, one who vandalizes the nature. Also, they are known as assassins. Next, we studied about monoculture, wherein one sort of culture or the cropping is done in a farm, and everything was initialized by the author. And Vandana, Miss Vandana Highness, if I have to talk about, she was a major and eminent personality to bring a change in the type of cropping. Her first education that she learned from the foot of the Himalayas took all over the globe to get a revolution in saving the forest. But results are known to all. So childhood experiences that shape the author's interest. So her childhood experiences, wherein if you study the lines in the textbook, if you study the leaves of the textbook, you will understand her association with the peasants of the forest, how they have been working. The first lesson that she learned, that she is directly connected with that of the nature. And also her father being one of the representative of the forest conservator as in well, she knows the importance of forest. By birth, she is connected with that of the nature. So you can write exactly what that shaped, because realization comes to those who wants to realize the importance of their living. Seldom are those who wants to get into this concept, but Vandana Shiva stands aloof of this. And next questions you can expect, the features of Chipko movement. What are the features of Chipko movement? You understand the frame. Women stood by the tree. They told the forest members, they told the loggers that we are here to teach you about forestry. We are here to acknowledge you about the importance of the forest. And every time Chipko movement took a very non-violent turn. When they ask you about the features, Chipko movement is a non-violent movement to save the forest, and every woman stood beneath, or you can say that they started hugging the trees. Chipko in itself states hugging. They hug the trees so that the loggers are sense that they are reprimanding against the injustice that the loggers do. Activities of Vandana Shiva that led to the development of greens. So what is that led to her? What instigated her to go beyond this, beyond anybody's expectation? That's her childhood. Asserting again, your first education starts at home. Be it good in a very moral way, in a very righteous way, the way she was nurtured, the way she has seen her father striving across everything only to preserve the nature and the forest. She's been the one. She was reluctant to let go the opportunity to save or preserve the forest. And when I talk about greens, greens is nothing but the woods. What is the meaning of wood? Wood is nothing but the forest. I would recommend all of you to pronounce it as wood rather saying wood. We normally don't say forest. It is woods, a midst of the woods. Next, Rabindranath Tagore's Tapovan. There are much of the other anticipated questions also, but I would suggest you to concentrate on these. While you're concentrating on these, automatically you will concentrate on to the other. Personally opining a thing, you will have to go through the lines of every prose, every poetry. These are the quintessential points that I can adapt that so that your learning becomes easy. Not everything can be explained line by line. That's not an etiquette. The perfect etiquette states from jotting down the points, and that's what it is done in this slide. Thanking you for this. You always remember, as I told you in prior, a child cannot survive out of a mother's womb. In the same way, we have to dwell in nature. Let's stoop down to that level wherein we can preserve and conserve the nature. Let's nub our ego to state that we are nothing in front of the creation of God, and that's nature. Here's wishing you a very green day further. Here's Vidyashram for you, standard retained on learning. Until then,